out of it. That was not a good Cher impression. Oh.
You overdid the Cher by about 1,000.
Honestly, for as much RuPaul's Drag Race as I watch, I should be, like, an adequate Cher impersonator. I can't do it. Snap out of it. No. We're here for you, Emily, because it's your month, and this is kind of your movie. Like, I think I have sort of a pillar in my mind palace, of, like, movies that are specific to you that I have never watched, that you are always like, you should watch it, and I'm like, yeah, and then I never do. And this was like number one, where I'm like, yeah, I should watch that to like get to know Emily better as a person, because you love it so much, but I just never did. And now you held a gun to my head in the form of this podcast. I
actually set up C4s around your apartment so you couldn't leave until you watched this.
But so we're covering one of your, can I say it's one of your favorites? Would you claim
Absolutely.
that as such?
It's probably, I think it toggles between 20th Century Woman and this movie for my favorite movie.
Wow.
But I would say this is probably my favorite, like, this is my comfort movie, like, my top dog. She's up there. If I need her, she's got my back.
I can really see this being one that's great when you, like, need to just put something on and maybe, like, do something else a little bit, or, like, if you're a little hungover and you just kind of need to zone out. Like, not, it's nothing too wild is happening that you're like, I'm getting whiplash, but, like, the dialogue is quippy enough. Cher is stunning. It's, like, it's scratching.
Sharing.
Yeah, it's scratching the itches. I can see that for sure. I kind of, while I was watching it, I was like, I wish I was, like, cooking. I was like, I wish this was, like, a movie I had on while I was cooking. Kind of vibes.
Yeah, the red wine, you're making, like, vodka sauce. Just getting real Italian with it.
This movie is so fucking Italian. So...
It's amazing.
I have to preface, I went into this knowing almost nothing. I knew that Nicolas Cage and Cher were in it, point one. I knew that Cher won her Oscar for it, and I knew she was going to say snap out of it. And those are truly the only three things I think I knew. Yeah,
Dara texted me saying, I was shocked that they didn't sing.
The whole time I was like, when are they going to start singing? I fully was like, I didn't think it was a musical, but I thought it was going to be like a Star is Born type vibes where like there would be some singing.
Nope,
it's
not
Cher.
A song was uttered.
It's Cher. Cher and Nicolas Cage.
She's more than just that.
I guess so. Yeah, her performance was great, and I was knocked my socks off by the amazing performance delivered by Miss Olympia Dukakis.
She also won an Oscar for this.
Amazing. It was her first and only nomination ever.
The women in this movie ate.
Carried. But this movie is so fucking Italian. And my favorite thing, though, is oftentimes in Hollywood, Italian people, for some reason, are given this grace card where they get to play any race they want. Italian people just get to pretend to be whatever because they're deemed ethnically ambiguous enough. And I think that's changing kind of recently, but Italian people, they're like, oh, you're Italian, so you can play somebody Mexican, or you can play somebody Jewish.
You're a little tan.
No, absolutely not. And I love that this aggressively Italian movie is spearheaded by two non-Italian women. Cher, not Italian. Olympia Dukakis, not Italian.
Love it. Love it.
Cher is Armenian. Olympia Dukakis is Greek. I mean, they're both American, but like of that heritage. I'm like, I love that. That they're like, you're gonna be in basically what is The Godfather equivalent of aggressively Italian movies.
I mean, speaking of The Godfather, I mean, Nicolas Cage is a Coppola, so...
Right? I think I was pretty late in my life when I learned that he was, like, a Nepo baby Coppola.
Yeah. Which, mind you, I do have, like, I have, like, probably, like, 11 degrees from Nicolas Cage in my arsenal. So, my aunt's boss, my aunt's boss's son, who is dating, a Coppola, like, cousin or something like that. And then her to, I don't know, whatever
Coppola is closest to Nick Cage.
Yeah, whichever Coppola is Nick Cage.
Interesting.
And then probably that Coppola to Nick Cage. So that's like, what? 6 degrees? I got 6 degrees to Nicolas Cage.
That's pretty close. I would say that's a lot closer than I could say to any celebrity.
Listen, we go and she always dog sits at her boss's house over the holidays, so we'll always like go in there and like exchange presents. They had the Coppola wine. I was sitting there like, dang, shit.
I was really, for all you people who were there for that one blip moment in time on TikTok, Sofia Coppola's daughter's TikTok of her trying to, like...
That
cook.
shit was amazing.
And then she's like, this is my babysitter's boyfriend. And he's like, fiasca. It's feminine. I'm like, can we get him on the pod? But, like, obviously not.
Yeah, but I think one thing about this movie, first of all, this is the youngest I've ever seen Nick Cage. I don't know how old he was in this. Probably, like, what do you think?
I didn't look it up, but for me, the reference point is that he does not have veneers. I did not realize that his teeth... I mean, everyone in Hollywood basically has fake teeth, so I don't know why I was shocked, but it's, like, clearly a pre-veneer, post-veneer situation for not just the appearance of his teeth, but his voice. To me, his voice was pretty different, and I'm like, oh, I guess I understand that why, like major dental change would change your diction a little bit. He sounded a little bit more nasally, almost like he could be, like, doing a not great Donald Trump impression, like, oh my god, I'm really in the area, right? And I'm like, oh, I guess, yeah, when you get your whole teeth just fucking swapped out, your voice changes.
That'll do it.
Oh, but he's young. He's young as fuck. I'm gonna say he's under 30.
Absolutely.
Guess.
Here's the thing, is I've seen plenty of Nick Cage in my life, but this is, like, the closest to, like, my reality of what Nick Cage is. You know what I mean? Like, this, to me, felt like the hardest Nick Cage has Nick Caged since he did the movie about him.
I was not expecting him to be, because I knew nothing about this. And then the movie started, and I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be kind of the, like, the drama, the rom-com sort of vibe. And then he's like, go get a knife, I'm gonna kill myself! And I was like, what is...
The funniest line.
As soon as he shows up, the dialogue gets dialed up to 1 trillion. And everything he and Cher say to each other makes, like, no fucking sense. It's like, you're a wolf, and you're a headless bride, I love the opera. And I was like, what the fuck? This is not a real person. Like, no person...
It's outstanding.
Who, like, is a one-handed bread man, is, like, a fanatic about the opera, and it was just... It took it to an...
Which is what's amazing.
It took it to an absurd level, which I think then elevated it above a lot of rom-coms, in my opinion, because I'm like, we don't want Hot Man 27 to show up and sweep her off her feet. We want handless, psychotic Nicolas Cage... like, going on a tangent. Except I will say that sometimes I thought his advances towards her were a little aggressive in the way that in our year of 2020, in our year of 2023, I'm like, yeah, maybe that's not a great example of, like, how to win a woman. Like, I'm gonna throw the table across the room and just, like...
And then I'm gonna smack my lips upon you.
Yeah, like, maybe let's not do that, but I'm gonna say it, and I'm sorry if you disagree, I didn't think he was super hot in this movie. I was not...
No.
Like, my panties weren't dropping. I know some people feel that way.
Yeah. I think him at the opera did it for me more than, like, him when you can see, like, the 9,000 chest hairs that he has. It was a lot.
I was more here for the greased up. I was more for him in, like, the bread basement than I was for the... But I a lot of, like, Letterboxd reviews were like, you know, if you don't think Nicolas Cage is hot in this movie, don't talk to me, which I can say that I understand where you're coming from, though, because I think he's hot in Face Off as Castor Troy. So, like, I can understand the sort of niche, but he wasn't doing it for me particularly here. And I just think that's because he's next to Cher, who, like, is just fucking glowing in every scene. And I'm like, you're literally just some guy. Like,
yeah.
You're just
Which, mind you, they tried to make her look... They gave her a couple of grays, and they were like, she's an old maiden. She's a hag. And then the minute she walks on screen, I'm drooling.
And it's wild, because I feel like never in Hollywood did they, like, age women down. Or up, I mean. Or wait, what am I trying to say? She was 41, and they said she was 37. But she fully looked 22. I'm like, they're like, we cannot argue that she's any older than 37, even though she was fully 41 in real life. Like, and she looks like that still today. I mean, obviously it's the Hollywood money, and it's the, you know, having $1 trillion to invest in your own appearance to maintain it. But she's like, what, in her 80s now, and she just still looks exactly like that. Like, she has not changed.
Stunning.
Also, if you don't follow Cher on Twitter, highly recommend. She just tweets, like, in all caps.
That's the only person you need to follow on Twitter. But can I just say, you were saying that this movie like jumped like as soon as Nicolas Cage got on screen. This movie to me, and my roommate Matt pointed this out when he said that it was lit like a play, and it totally is. Like this movie feels more like a play. Maybe it's closer onto the absurdist side, but I think that's one of the things that I love about it. It's not too much. It's really just like a pretty simple storyline. It's quick, it's witty, it's fast, it's got the dialogue, it's got the drama. Like, Nicolas Cage is playing this as if it's, like,
for the stage.
Play on 900. Yeah, for the stage, exactly. Him doing his big hand gesture. I lost my hand! I lost my bride!
Johnny has his hand! Johnny has his bride!
Like, yeah, it's the overacting, and I think that's one of the things that I love about it, because I think Cher and Olympia Dukakis are a lot more subtle in that way, and definitely a little more, like, did it for the movie, and that's why they won the Oscar. But I love how insane he is in this.
I think I totally agree that I felt like it was like very much like a stage production, especially in the way that like long monologues will happen between characters in a single room. It's like almost as if they're planning like that a set change has to happen, which is like not true because it's a movie. But like especially the two that come to mind for me are at the beginning when she tells her parents that she's engaged. And it's sort of like her and her dad, and then they go wake up the mom, but it all like could reasonably take, place within the same stage set. But then also obviously the big scene at the end where they're all at the breakfast table, and every character is coming in sort of one at a time, piling up, adding to the conversation until the climax of the movie or the ending point or whatever. But it was very much giving stage production, which then I was like, who directed this? And it made so much sense that the director of this movie also did Fiddler on the Roof and Jesus Christ Superstar, so very known for taking stage productions and turning them into movies. Tonally makes a ton of sense why this is an original screenplay. I don't know if it won.
Yeah, it won for screenplay.
Yeah, it won for original screenplay. But that it would feel kind of in that same way and I'm like, oh my god, I was shocked that this was not based off of a play or an existing musical or something. Yeah, because it felt so much like it. And the way that they talked, it was... Do you know what year it was supposed to be? Because the movie came out in 1987, but they never really...
I think it was that year. I think it is modern times.
Yeah, they didn't really plug it as, like, supposed to be a prior piece.
No.
But the way people talked seemed sort of out of time. Like just, like, the mannerisms. And maybe that's just Italian people. Maybe I just don't, like... Maybe I just, like, don't know...
Maybe I'm just not Italian from Brooklyn.
Yeah, maybe I just, like, don't know any first-generation Italian immigrants, so I'm, like, not up with the lingo. But, like, the way they were all talking, he's like, that's Cosmo's moon. I'm like, what fucking year is it?
I love it. I love that, and that... What is it? Raymond, I think that's his name, is one of my favorite characters in this movie. Very much like in the way that, like, you sort of, again, like one of those characters in a play, he's on screen maybe 3 times or something like that, but he has some of the best lines and some of the most, like, impactful, like, scenes to me, because I think one of the reasons why I love this movie so much is I'm definitely a hopeless romantic. I love my little rom-coms. If they're done well, a shitty rom-com, I don't fuck with, but I'm definitely on the hopeless romantic side. And this movie, I think the way that they approach love and the way that they take it from a very nostalgic angle is one of the things that I really love, because it's a lot of, like, older people, I guess. I feel like you see, like, new love a lot of the times on screen, which is good and fine and great, but, like, I feel like show me the old couples who have been in this for 35 years, you know what I mean? And even if it's, like, the bad side with, Olympia Dukakis and Cosmo. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see that. But that scene with Raymond and Rita, where she's looking at him and he's, like, staring up at it and he's like, oh, that's Cosmo's moon. And she looks at him and she's like, you know something? In that light, you look about 25 years old. It just melts my little heart.
It was, I think, a great, like, this could be a masterclass in sort of, like, how to make as few lines of dialogue as effective as possible, because even like the two like liquor store owners, you get the initial conversation about like, you're a wolf, I know you're a wolf, And then he just cracks the joke at her, like, oh, you know what I see when I look at you? The woman I married. And they joke. And then they're never seen again. Not important to the plot line. But it was such an effective, vehicle to introduce a main theme. And also to be like, I feel like I know those people. Those are the local liquor store people. And they're always bickering, but they love each other, you know? And it happened in the span of 45 seconds, which I think in the bad rom-coms extrapolate a meet cute over the course of 2 hours, and then at the end I'm like, they've known each other for 3 days and they're just both hot. They don't have chemistry. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah. Even that scene with like Olympia and I forget her name in this movie,
Rose,
but with her and her husband, one of my favorite lines of dialogue where she goes, what was it? Cosmo, I just want you to know, no matter what you're gonna do, you're gonna die just like everyone else. That's probably my favorite quote from the movie. But also, like, I feel like it just, like she knows him as a man so well. She's been he's been her husband for, like, 40 plus years or so, I have to assume. Like, it just really, like, hits. You know what I mean?
She drops all of the truth bombs in this movie, and she's really the only character with, like, her head screwed all the way on, basically. Mm-hmm. And, like, I literally, like, spat out my drink when her character is first introduced. She's asleep in bed, and the two of them come to wake her up, and she just opens her eyes, completely unflinching, and says, "Who died?" But it was so... Henry was like, that's how you wake up. Like, your eyes just shoot open. And, like, completely... You don't stir, you don't twitch, just a bonk. But I am typically annoyed with the little offshoot storylines that are, like, only really there to reinforce plot themes that we're already getting so well with the main storyline. I'm like, okay, you're showing me this little thing, I don't fucking care. But her at dinner with the NYU professor, and sort of at the end where he's like, invite me up, and she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, no. That was maybe my favorite scene in the whole movie, because she's like, you know, why do men chase women? And he gives her an answer, and she's like, no, it's because you fear death. And he's like, damn, I guess you're right. She's like, asks him a question. She does the same thing to Danny Aiello like a few scenes later. She's like, do you think it's because you fear death? And he's like, shit, yeah, I guess so. And she's just like, is answering her own question. But I think she knows herself the best and has the most realistic outlook on, like, love, life, family, just, like, accepting things for how they are, but, like, knowing your place in them, kind of. I just thought her character was excellent and was my favorite part of the whole thing. Also, Miss Olympia Dukakis, born in Lowell, Massachusetts.
Really?
And she went to Boston University for physical therapy and was a PT during the polio endemic.
Damn.
Isn't that nuts? And then
crazy.
Then she went back to school for theater and is like a renowned and she also is really well known for being a stage actress, which is also why I think it gives a bit of stage presence. But this was her one and only Oscar nomination and win was for this movie. I feel like
that's crazy.
Is she still alive?
That's actually wild. Don't think so. I think she died like within like the last like 2 years, I believe.
I know most of the people in this movie have.
I think it was last year. I think she died 2020.
Sad.
Yeah, love her.
Rip.
Big fan of Olympia Dukakis. It's so funny that this is like, you know what, like, do you like remember like some of the times that you like kind of like found your favorite movie? Because I feel like a lot of the times like I tend to find like movies that I really like through like channel surfing with my mom, kind of. Like, it's sort of the same thing that happened like with like, I love Dirty Dancing, which is not off the table for next week. Have we done it yet?
No, we haven't
done it yet. Yeah, so maybe I'll force you to watch Dirty Dancing just to relive our childhood.
For the second time in my life, the first being when you made me watch it the first time.
Forced you to. But yeah, I just remember like, I remember flipping through channels and like kind of landing on this with my mom, and like it's, I don't know. It's just crazy, like, it's just really left a big impression on me for some reason, which I feel like not a lot of people could say, like, I just feel like it's kind of criminally underrated. I feel like it's kind of gotten lost.
I know it, so, on your first point, I completely agree with you. I think all of my favorite movies, I can tie the exact first viewing to, like, a pretty significant and nostalgic, pinpoint of, like, I clicked the pirated link on Tumblr and I was hiding under my covers, like, because tomorrow was the first day of 7th grade, or, like, some shit like that, you know? I think a lot of movies, or like, you know, it's something Henry told me we had to watch and it was like special because he was showing me something, or I don't know, a lot of things like that. It's movie viewing experiences are very conducive to the environment in which you watch the film. A lot of times, like if I'm like in a bad mood and I watch a movie for the first time, I'm like, did I hate that or was I just pissed? Like, You know, I'm like, it's like, is my opinion even valid, or am I just like in a bad mood? What was your second point that I was?
I said criminally under. I think it's forgot about.
Yes, I felt like a lot of people. Nicolas Cage, I think, for promo for his own Nicolas Cage movie, said like his top 5 favorite performances he's ever given, and Moonstruck was not in. And people were like, "What the fuck? Like, you're not gonna say Moonstruck? Like, you really should be saying Moonstruck if you're talking about your own performances, because a lot of Nick Cage performances are hokey, hacky, and this has a little bit of that. Like, this is honestly giving me a little Castor Troy energy of like, I'm playing John Travolta as me, like I'm just screaming and being absurd. But that's just kind of how Nick Cage is all the time. But yeah, a ton of people were like, "What the fuck? What is this Moonstruck erasure?" Like,
I don't know. I think it's just one of those movies. Like, probably more like towards our generation, that a lot of people haven't seen it. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but like if you haven't seen Moonstruck, I would highly recommend it. But for those of you that haven't, we are like 20 minutes into the pod. But I should probably give a little recap.
Oh my god, so true. And yeah, I would say if you, it's a great movie to kind of have on while you are doing something else as well. It doesn't require your full undivided attention. You can give it that, but also, you know, throw it on while you're cleaning, or it's a very dialogue, like rom-com. The plot is not complicated movie, so it's pretty approachable. But I think you should give the recap as the fan.
Of course. Yes, thank you. So basically, Cher and Danny was it Aiello?
I say Aiello, but I don't know if that's right. Like Aiello. Italian. He's fucking Italian.
Yeah. Cher and Danny have been, you can only assume, okay, it takes place, it's like 1987 or whatever, somewhere in New York. Cher is a bookkeeper, just kind of like doing her thing. She's 37 years old. She's had a past husband, died unexpectedly, hasn't had a man in 7 years. She's been being courted by, what's his name? Johnny and
Ronnie. I was like, Johnny and Ronnie?
By Johnny Castorini. And he proposes to her. Seems a bit like a quick thing. They're kind of like getting up there in age. She's just looking for someone to settle down with, just to kind of have a man. Right? She says yes, whatever. You get the impression that Johnny is just a fucking buffoon. Because he is. And so she says yes, they're engaged. She brings the news back to her family. He goes to Sicily because his mother's dying. And he basically asks her, "Hey, I just need you to do one thing while I'm over there, like with my mother. Go tell my brother Ronnie," played by Nicolas Cage, "that I want him to come to the wedding." So she does. He owns a bakery, basically. We meet him. He is disheveled, distressed, one hand down.
Disgruntled, disturbed,
dirty.
distraught.
Yeah. Just a mess of a man. And she's like, "Hey, your brother really wants you to come to his wedding." He says, "Fuck that. My brother made me lose my hand. I will not be going there." And they have a bit of an aggressive, conversation, I'd say. He gets a bit of his frustrations out, and they end up going, and she talks to him upstairs in his apartment. She cooks him a steak, bloody, and all that shit.
Which, I'm like, okay, imagine you invite somebody up and they just immediately go into your kitchen and start preparing a steak. I'd be like, who the fuck do you think you are?
I love it. So they're kind of going at it, having a big conversation, and Cher starts telling him the story of his life, basically, kind of like typecasting him, being like, "I know exactly who you are. You're a wolf. Like, you cut off your own hand to survive, and you're scared that you'll do it again," or some shit. I don't know. But so, basically, they end up in a whirlwind, like, romance over the next, like, 36 hours, maybe? Something like that.
The dick must have gone crazy.
Dude, that pussy must have gone crazy. They wake up the next day. They end up sleeping together. And the next day, they wake up. And Ronnie looks at her and says, "You know what? Sorry, this is really unfortunate, but I love you."
That's what I'm saying, though, that the dick must have gone crazy, because, like, of course he fell in love with Cher. I would fall in love with Cher. Like, take one look at Cher in this movie and, like, yeah, I'm in love with her. You take one look at that guy and you're like, it's gonna take some work. So the fact that she is so, like, fighting the urge to run back to him, I'm like, he must have pulled some tricks.
I bet it's the pheromones. Something about them pheromones. It always goes back to those.
He smells a little bit like bread. He's like a little yeasty, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah. But essentially, he's like, okay, fine, yeah, this is really inconvenient for you. If you do me this one service and come to the opera with me, because it's the one thing I love just as much as I love you, then, like, I will leave you alone forever. She's like, okay, fine, whatever. You go, kind of see, it cuts away, you find out that her father, Cher's father, is having an affair with another woman. Olympia Dukakis, her mom, is, like, kind of onto this, you know what I mean? But those are very much, like, side stories, but I wouldn't say that they're any less fun to watch than
Exactly. Exactly. That's usually those side things that I'm like, oh, so you're retelling the main plot in a different way to make sure I get the point. Whereas with this one, I'm like, oh, give me more of Olympia Dukakis, like, trashing on this NYU professor. Like, yes. And even the dad who's a piece of shit, I'm like, just the way he, like, says words, I'm like, it's so funny to me.
Funny. But so Cher goes, gets a makeover. They make it sound like she got, like,
oh my God. They're like, you look haggard and awful and terrible, and now you look fabulous, whereas, like, she almost is indistinguishable beginning to end. Like, her hair is, like, a little bit bigger now, and they took out her grays.
They took the grade out, yeah. But so they go to the opera, Cher still distraught, Nicolas Cage still in love. Mind you, this would be the easiest engagement to call off. It's been less than 12 hours. Just tell him you don't want to marry him. You changed your mind. Right. It's not that big of a deal.
I mean, the big deal is being like, hey, can we call off your engagement? And also, if you see me around, don't worry, I'm just fucking your brother. Like, that's the... that's the touchy bit. Because she can't just walk away from him either. It's like it's a package deal. And that's why I think that the end scene, if you're going to get to it, but the end scene of this movie is so powerful because she's just so ready to face the music. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to tell him the truth. I have to just tell him the truth because I can't just call the whole thing off and leave both of them forever because that's not how this is going to go.
Exactly. So basically what ends up happening is Cher's kind of left, in that situation. She's like, well, I got to do what's going to be best for me. Like, I'm just going to run it. And the whole family kind of ends up gathering and Nick Cage is there and Johnny comes back in and he's like, hey, Cher, baby, listen, I got something to tell you. And she's like, well, I got something to tell you. He's like, hold up, my news is more important. I can't marry you. My mother is alive again, and that's like, I can't marry you or else she'll die. It's just some weird shit. But Cher ends up like being like, what the fuck? You know what? Fuck you. I hate you. Anyways, whatever. And then Ronnie is like, hey, baby, I know I've only known you for 2 days, but will you marry me? And she says, absolutely, Ronnie. In front of all these people, I will marry you. And that's the movie.
And then my favorite, everyone's favorite through line of dialogue is the very first time Cher tells her mom that she's getting married. She goes, do you love him? And she goes, oh, no. And Olympia Dukakis goes, oh, good. When you love them, they know they can take advantage of you.
Drive you crazy.
But, do you like him? And she's like, yeah, I like him. And then she goes about Nicolas Cage. She's like, do you love him? She goes, oh, Ma, I love him stupid. Or what did she say? I love him awful.
Ma, I love him something awful. And Olympia Dukakis is like, oh, that's too bad.
I like that so much.
Oh, it's so good. It's just, again, it's just such like...
That's how you do a callback. Jen, after your 2-week sabbatical, you are back once again to host your interim podcast segment. It was mostly my fault because your audio got fucked up beyond all repair last week because I didn't tell you how to use the microphone correctly. So that one's on me. That one's my bad. So to all you CRV heads out there, all you chocolate or vanilla stans, worry no longer. Jen is back. Mm-hmm. Jen, how are you?
I'm good. I just want to say I really missed everybody.
We got some messages. Some people were like, is Jen okay? I was like, damn, the Jen fans are pulling through the lack of CRV for the past 2 weeks.
Where's our swamp mom?
I want to be the swamp mom. I was going to say that there were 2 themes that I have now tucked away. Someday maybe I'll do some lost episodes or something.
Love
so
when
I
you
had
do that.
2 ready to go that we didn't publish.
Unpublished content. We'll start a Patreon with literally just those 2 things in our Drunk Ruby Sparks episode, and that's all you get. That's all you
maybe
get.
we have to do it as I'm like maybe we have to start doing like trashed episodes, like do real drunk movie reviews as I was literally we just got online to start doing this and I'm like, I'm making a mocktail because I'm trying to be more conscious.
And meanwhile, Jen's like, pour me a little glass of wine, and I poured her literally just a full, like, to the brim. I'm like, I don't know what little means. I already asked you so chocolate or vanilla, you say two things, we all say which one we like better. What's the theme this week?
There is no theme, because I know Emily likes off the dome,
Yes.
no theme one.
Yes! And it's Emily month.
It's Emily month. So this has no theme at all. No theme at all.
Slay.
So chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
Chocolate. Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry.
Chocolate.
I'm gonna stick vanilla.
Yeah, I'm gonna go chocolate. A steel drum or a tambourine?
Ooh, I love a little tambourine. A little sassy little, I mean, it's adding almost nothing percussionally, but it's an accessory. It's the accessory of the
Percussionally?
But it's like the cute little handbag of the instrument world.
Mm. Do you feel like you have a soft spot for it, considering your all of your fictional husbands, by all I mean one of your fictional husbands of Greta Van Fleet just rocks a tambourine so hard?
Oh yeah, they're like when everyone else is doing their solos of like actual impressive musical talent, you can just run around stage with a tambourine, just for attention.
Yeah, exactly. It's very Stevie Nicks of him. I'm gonna go steel drum because I think a steel drum is beautiful and gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm gonna go steel drum too. I thought you would say steel drum, because the drummer and you would need to go with the drum.
The drummer and you also sometimes when this podcast is maybe getting a little boring for you, I guess you tap on whatever desk you're on, and I have to edit those out because you're always doing your little drummy thing, and you do it in real life, and it doesn't bother me or anything. But now that I'm our podcast editor, I'm like, Emily, stop fucking drumming next to your microphone.
I never even realized. Oh,
you can't help it.
I'm like,
just
damn,
can't help it.
I really was not making a good point there, huh?
Dang, she was zoned.
The next one is Doja Cat or Hello Kitty.
I think Hello Kitty sort of transcends all meanings of friendship, adorableness, childhood-like wonder. She is slay, she is fashion, she's an icon, and she is the moment. And while I do love me some Doja, I just don't think you can quite compare her to international icon that is Hello Kitty.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I think that Doja Cat would want me to pick Hello Kitty over her. With all due respect, I'm respecting everyone's wish. I think Hello Kitty deserves that respect, and I think Doja Cat knows this, and so I'm going along, and I am going to say Hello Kitty.
All right, I'll go Hello Kitty for the sweep. Next one is Snickers or M&M's.
Oh, I feel like as much as I am here for a Snicker, it does satisfy. I think M&Ms are sort of multi-purpose. You can have them in a trail mix. You can put them in your pancakes. You can, I think I utilize the M&M more as a vehicle to spice up other things.
Nobody puts them in pancakes except for us.
Oh, that's not a thing? It's like a chocolate chip pancake, but it's M&Ms instead.
Okay.
I feel like it is a thing.
It was a thing in our house.
Maybe just if you
grew
up
a thing from
where there were
Friendlies.
Friendlies. Yeah, if you grew up near a Friendlies,
I'm gonna have to say Snickers because I think M&Ms are just a little too boring for me. Doesn't scratch that itch.
I'm gonna go with Snickers too. I like a Snickers. The next one is chicken wings with the bone in or boneless.
I'm a baby, and I don't like to have to work to eat my food.
Yep.
Like ribs, It's a lot of work. Anything that you're like picking it up a lot and it's touching a chicken. Call it what it is. It's a chicken tender. A boneless wing? Are you kidding me? No, that's a chicken tender covered in sauce. And let's just be upfront about it. It's what I want. I would just want to be able to just rip through them. No deboning, no work. I know it's the wrong answer, but it's my answer.
Well, here's the thing, is I agree with you. I'm also going to choose boneless. But can we be honest? A chicken wing is just a vehicle for the sauce, correct?
Absolutely.
100%.
You know what I mean? So why would I not make that easier for myself to ingest more sauce? Why am I wasting the time of picking it, chewing off the bone, which I guess some people really rock with that. They like to chew on the bone. That freaks me out a little bit. Don't rock with that. But why am I going to have to stick my tongue through the joints of this dead chicken to try and get the meat that's not even covered in sauce. I want
That's
optimal
true.
sausage. So I'm going to say boneless.
Optimal sausage?
Well, saucing. You know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm gonna go bone in, but I'm not gonna go to town. I love the fanfare that is a chicken wing and like have it at the football game, but I'm not eating all the way down to the bone. I'm just having a couple bites off the top.
See, Henry's always like, you didn't clean your bones.
That's
and
what
he like
Gary says to
slurps
me,
my
too.
bones, and I'm like,
Why do I
don't
want-
need all that?
Why do I
I
want
don't need
raw?
the gristle.
Why do I need the unseasoned chicken inside? You know what I mean?
I just
Maybe
really
that's like
wanted the sauce.
like why. I'm sure that's a shit take to a lot of people, but that's my truth. I don't need that. I need buffalo sauce in and around my
Dipping.
mouth.
Yeah. Next one is pie or cake.
Cake. I like pie, and I like the variety that pie offers as far as sweet, savory, everything, but I think there's a ceiling on, bad pie is bad, but bad cake is still cake.
Yeah, that's true. I think you're right with that. I'm gonna go cake. I feel like I've been ingesting a lot more cake than I usually do lately. Question for you and for viewers. Has either of you had a Fudgy the Whale cake ever?
Yes.
From Carvel?
Yeah.
What is?
Yes.
No, I don't know what that is.
That is
like-
the same mold they use for every Carvel cake. They tip Fudgy the Whale upside down and make it Santa.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Take a closer look at Fudgy.
That makes sense. Well, I had never had one. I never had a Carvel cake until like my roommate's birthday, and he was really like, "Yeah, Fudgy the Whale is kind of like what's it?" It's like, okay,
Does it have the crunchies? The crunchy
Oh,
parts
yeah.
in it?
it is.
So many
Like,
crunchies.
Yeah, take like a Dairy Queen cake and like multiply it times 100.
Elevate it.
And it's amazing.
This is
The
so
fudge light-
70s.
Dude, it's so fucking good. Oh my god. Like, you know the fudge in the middle of the like Dairy Queen cake? It's all over the cake. Cuz usually it gets lost in the sauce of like the ice cream. All across the top, the sides, and then so much crunchy, dude. Oh, it's prime. If anyone has Fudgy the Whale experiences for me, please write in. I'd love to talk to you as a newly, I don't know, slutted out Fudgy fan.
And if Carvel would like to send me a Fudgy the Whale cake and I will try it live, it will be the fourth thing on our Patreon.
Please.
Which will cost no money to subscribe.
Yeah.
Next one is hard serve ice cream or soft serve ice cream.
Ooh, I appreciate soft serve, but I do not get the flavor variety that I would like. I think sometimes though when I want soft serve, it's a really specific mood and nothing will quench my thirst other than like a really good. My friend Rachel and Kevin, my friends Rachel and Kevin and I had this theory that the best soft serve was from this gas station in town because they never cleaned the machine.
Which
so
one?
You got like the extra stank, Extra Mart, but it's gone now. It's the one next to the Cracker Barrel, but the machine is long gone.
Damn.
But for a long time, we were like, they do not clean that machine, and it's got like the extra milk stank, and that's why that soft serve is the best of town. But fortunately, it's gone. But just regular ice cream provides,
It probably
more-
didn't survive COVID.
Yeah. But
Not the
normal
milk
ice cream,
stank.
more flavors, more options.
Absolutely. I'm gonna hard agree with you for standard regular hard ice cream. However, nothing does it for me like a dipped soft serve. Oh my god, like in the cherry. Oh,
Oh, see, I don't like that because you kind of have to bite it, and I don't want my teeth to sink into soft, cold cream.
see, I like just it, like cracking an egg. You know what I mean? Just breaking the top and then just slurping it out.
Yeah, but you won't suck the meat off of your chicken wing. Okay, Emily.
No, because dude, I get all of the good stuff that I want.
I think your cherry dip isn't probably an unpopular choice. Probably most people just go straight up chocolate dip, right?
I guess. Well, I just look. You know me. I'm a vanilla girly. Vanilla
Yep, I
soft
hear
serve
ya.
with a cherry dip. Oof.
I want my soft serve twisted, rolled in jimmies.
Jimmy's, sprinkles.
Sprinkles, sorry.
I think Jimmy's is a regional term.
Yeah. Next one is high ponytail, low ponytail.
A low ponytail makes me look like one of the fucking founding fathers of these United States. Or it makes me look like a girl who's going to tell you a lot about her pet horse. So I cannot, unfortunately. I can do with a little bun, because then it makes me look like a really nice English teacher. Like I'm the English teacher that lets the kids eat lunch in her room kind of thing. That's what the low bun is giving me, but the low pony simply is not it. I'm a high and tight. You and I, Jen, both wear our ponytails pretty aggressively tight, where it's like giving me a tension headache, like traction alopecia type tight pony.
I don't know if I can if I can vote in this one. Yeah, if anyone doesn't know, I shaved my head like in August or something like that. So it's been a while since I've had any options for ponytails. But I was a tried and true stan of the high pony, especially when my hair was really long. It was very hot girl. You can never go wrong, especially if you're like dressing up it like for a function, like, you know, kind of plain top under a blazer, nice pants, and a high pony.
The Ariana Grande.
Yeah, you are there to work. You're Shiv Roy, basically. Yeah, I'm a high pony guy.
Sometimes the higher the better. I'm gonna go high pony.
Yep.
The higher your hair, the closer you are to God.
God. Oh my God. Next one is chess or checkers.
I feel like I tried to learn how to play chess like over the pandemic, and it made me really depressed because my younger brother was just so much better than me at it, even though he like learned how to play chess when he was a kid, and like I had learned 10 minutes ago, but like not being better than him at something really like hurt me.
Yeah.
So I think I like, but we had a Mario chess set where all the pieces were like Goombas.
Oh, that's fun.
Which was pretty cool. Honestly though, gun to my head, if you told me to play checkers right now, I would need to like review the rules really quick. I don't know when you can jump. I don't, you know, there's when do you get to move sideways or like
you can't,
when you cross the board or something?
You first of all, you don't.
You
move
only
sideways.
move one
It's
way.
Only diagonal.
Can I pick Settlers of Catan? I'll pick checkers though. I'll pick checkers.
I'm also gonna go checkers on this. I grew up playing it a lot with my grandpa, and within the last couple of years, my roommates will like get really competitive when we all like play like checkers in the style that like people play chess, sort of. So
you're
we're
like hitting a buzzer.
We're like sitting there like analyzing the board, kind of thing. So yeah, definitely checkers.
That's actually awesome.
It's like the Queen's Gambit for people who drink PBR.
Queen's Gambit light. I'm gonna go chess, and shout out to Aaron's brother Neil who taught us how to play four-way chess.
Yeah, one of my cousins is like a big chess guy, and he has like 3-dimensional chess, some like brain operating on a level that I simply could never.
Next one is Domino's, Bertucci's, or Papagino's.
Okay, so Domino's and Papagino's are both pizza places, but Bertucci's is an abomination to the chain restaurant.
Have you ever been to Bertucci's? Because I went for the first time recently.
Fuck a Bertucci's. As far as like what Applebee's is the base, and then everything else is some variation of Applebee's. As far as Italian Applebee's, you cannot go wrong with Olive Garden. Why the fuck did Bertucci's even enter the game? I don't even want to hear it. Same price point.
I've got a lot to say.
You love a Bertucci's? I'll pick a Domino's.
No,
because they have that little marketing thing where they just tell you when your pizza's on the way, and I think that's really fun.
What was the other option? Papagino's?
Yeah.
I loved a Papagino's as a kid. Like, stopping at the rest stop on the highway, Papagino's was my safe place. But again, around the same timeline of Fudgy the Whale, I had the unfortunate experience of going to a Bertucci's because we had very strong misunderstandings about what Bertucci's was actually like. We thought it was a step up from the Olive Garden.
Absolutely not.
It is 3 steps down. I think we still paid like $110 for 3 meals, and like the worst wine I've had, like worse than Barefoot kind of shit. Horrific. Absolutely horrific. Abomination just begins to like scratch the surface. It was fucked.
Oh, God.
And I love a trashy chain restaurant.
I love it. No,
I live for like half off apps before 5 p.m. at Applebee's. Like I'm 85 years old. Like, yes.
I went to Friendly's within the last month. Yeah.
It's not because I think I'm above it. It's because I know what cheap food should taste like, and that's not it.
No. It's not even like the good microwave food that Applebee's gives you. It's like a fucking lean cuisine popped into the microwave. Garbage.
I'm totally gonna go Papagino's too.
Hell
Do you give me Puppuccino's, a Fudgy the Whale Cake, and play Queen Another One Bites the Dust, and I am in the 8th grade.
Yes.
Maybe there is a theme this week.
I guess so.
Maybe we'll post this on our Instagram. Maybe we won't. We're gonna try harder to be good at social media, but it's hard, you know. But Jen, the revival, the reintroduction, your 2-week vacation is over. Get back to it. Come up with things. But if anyone would like to suggest themes, please, our DMs are open. Jen loves to hear, you know, if you've got some chocolate or vanilla ideas, or if you play with your friends or in the car, please tell us, because that makes my heart sing. So Jen, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. I love you guys. Have a great night.
Love you.
Bye, Jen. This movie just straight up, it just gives me the warm and fuzzies. It's so easy to watch. I watched it less than a month ago. And then I showed Maya this movie, and then I immediately forced them to watch Do the Right Thing afterwards. To see another one of Danny Aiello's performances.
Which, no offense, Emily, but that is a way better movie than this.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It is, but to me, this is the thing that has my heart, and I think this is my, top dog, probably. I love this movie. If you don't like if I can't get down with someone that doesn't like this movie, yeah.
Which I'll say I liked it, but I didn't love it, but I did like it. I did like it a lot. And I do think some sort of nostalgic connection to it would strengthen my bond with it. And maybe after a few watches, by the end of it, I was already like thinking of some callback early stuff that I was like, oh, I bet if I watch this immediately again, I would get a ton of like the thematic through lines are very strong with this movie, especially in the writing. So you get the one thing to me that
which again very play-like.
The one thing that kind of stood out as like being a little awkward to me or clunky is that we see the NYU professor get a drink dumped on him twice. We see almost an identical scene of him having dinner with a student while Loretta Castorini is getting proposed to. So while Cher is getting proposed to, we see the same man get drink dumped on him by woman 1, and then when Olympia Dukakis is at dinner by herself, we get him with a drink tossed on him by woman number 2, which I understand that's it being like, oh, you know, dogs will be dogs. This man is how he is. He's a creep professor who tries to fuck his students and is gross and demeaning and whatever. Yeah. But the fact that they dedicated, I mean, I'm saying so much time as if it wasn't like just a minute or so, but the fact that they dedicated so much time to showing us that twice, I was like, could you not have saved a little editing time and like shown us more of something that I cared more about? I don't know. That was my like one big pet peeve that I'm like, didn't we already see? I was like, am I having like weird deja vu? But I'm like, no, like we literally saw this earlier. It just didn't have to be as quite nail on the head. Like we're showing you the same scene twice for me. But I mean, I understood what they were trying to say, so I'm like, I can't be mad at it because like I got your point.
Exactly. Yeah. How do you feel? Because I know you are a staunch hater of the 2-week romance. How does this 2-day romance make you feel, considering that it is, like, supposed to be absurd and ridiculous?
So, like, in all honesty, the fact that it starts off with her marrying this guy who's clearly just, like, a comfort choice. It's like, we'll have an amicable and comfortable life together, and I'm, like, quote-unquote, past my prime. I've already been through, unsuccessful marriage, as in he's dead. The way she talks about her dead husband is crazy. She's like, yeah, he was hit by a bus. I'm like, oh my god, not even a crack in your voice, not even a little bit of a glimmer in your eye of sadness. But I mean maybe she's just jaded about it, but the fact that the first marriage was very much like, yeah, sure, not very exciting, and then the exciting thing happens, obviously you're gonna root for the exciting thing that's full of passion and vigor. So I think that was a great way to set it up, where I was like, oh yeah, of course I believe this, because you were ready to settle, so this must be something, like a flame. But the things that bugged me were like him being kind of physically violent or aggressive towards her, like throwing the table or like really grabbing her face a lot. So I'm like, I think that's just a thing of the past in romance, of being like, oh, it's hot when a man is physically dominant, but it's like, that is like scary and makes me like fear for her future. But I know that that's just like a cultural difference between now and 1987. And it to me, I'm like, it doesn't matter whether I believe their chemistry or not, because she was about to marry this other guy who she had less chemistry with, so who fucking cares how long they've known each other? You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
to me, I'm like, the ideal ending is like Cher and Olympia Dukakis like moving back to Italy and starting a new life. Very like Sisterhood of the Traveling
They, like,
Pants.
own a...
Greece, that was Greece, but
yeah, they own like a vineyard together.
right, that would be my ending for them.
Would you say that like a lot of like the Olympia Dukakis scenes were like your favorite then? Because I want to know what
Yes.
stuck out to you scene wise.
So I think she was my favorite probably performance and character. Every time she was on the screen, every dialogue line, I would just like hit me and like made me chuckle. There were moments in this movie where I'm like, this movie's trying to be funny and it's like not like, okay, sure. But then when she would show up, I'm like, yes! I'm just like, I don't know why I'm so enthralled by Miss Dukakis. I absolutely loved her. I mean, of course, I thought both Cher and Nicolas Cage did a good job. But my two favorite characters, probably super, super side characters, are the woman who curses the plane. That scene where
oh my god,
where she puts Danny
I
Aiello,
put a curse on that plane.
and she that's when I'm like, oh, so this movie's gonna be real heavy-handed with like thematic expositional dialogue of being like, and now, on account of the exposition, I'm telling you a story. Like, it's very that. And I'm just like,
I
okay,
love
so we're doing
I like that
that.
it's not trying to like hide it though.
Yeah, no, and I thought that she just was serving me everything, and that's when I'm like, oh, so I get what this movie's gonna be about now. Like, I completely understand it, and I love the grandfather with all the dogs.
Oh my god, I want to be him so bad.
He just like, it was so funny to me as far as like showing the family element of like all this family under one roof living together and sort of like their slight disagreements or their personality butting together, and like everybody is, being an infidel obviously, so that's kind of coming to terms, and he sees Olympia Dukakis out and about, and that's a whole thing. But just his line when he's like, I'm confused, I'm like,
that shit was hysterical.
A voice of the people, because I'm like, me too. But just that he has his 5 dogs. There's also a really wonderful scene where he is first seen walking all his dogs, and there's these 2 like young boys like walking home from school or something, and they say like, do you see that guy with all his dogs? That's crazy. Damn, man, get off my lawn with all those dogs. They're just like ragging on this old man for having 5 fucking dogs. And I just thought it was so, I've never lived in New York. I don't know what it's like to be an Italian immigrant living in New York City in 1987. I'm not saying that, but it felt very like local New Yorkers ragging on the people around them type beat. Like look at that old man and all his dogs. Like, damn, the city is crazy. But he provided a lot of color and good accents to every scene he was in, I felt, because he constantly taking his dinner plate over to the dogs and then getting it refilled.
So funny.
And it was the little details like that especially stood out to him as a character for me, that I was like, oh, I'm watching you now, because I know every little thing you do is like a choice about this character that you're developing. That, yeah, I would say that those 2 like really minor characters were like really great splashes of color for me. But ultimately, Olympia Dukakis is my queen. Like, she just knocked this movie out of the park for me.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, the movie is named after it, but, like, that's the whole moon scene, like, the throughway moon scene with, it starts out, like, Olympia Dukakis, like, staring at the moon out her window after, like, Cosmo's gone to bed, and mind you, she is fucking stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. Bathed in blue light.
But so
her hair, not a hair out of place.
Oh my god, she's only, I think, 15, within a low teen range, older than Cher. So she, like, realistically should not be placed as Cher's mother. Unless she literally had a baby at 15, she's not Cher's mother. Like, that doesn't make a lick of sense, because the age difference between the 2 of them. But, again, I understand Cher looks 22, and therefore that makes more sense. But you're telling me she's 37, so that still isn't making sense. So it's like, it's very much like, though, we're not going to cast elderly actors or like older actors to actually play old characters. We're going to cast like old but not too old actors. Like, realistically, but also the fact that her dad was still alive I'm like, is he 110?
That's crazy.
Like, that makes no sense, but that's neither here nor there.
But, like, that scene of, I just like a through scene sort of like that, where it just goes from her and then it jumps to Cher and Nicolas Cage, and I think they have a really sweet moment. But again, it's just that moment with Raymond and Rita in their bed, and it's so sweet, and it just makes me want to grow old with someone. I think it's just, like, some of the best dialogue in the movie. It's just adorable. It's absolutely adorable, and I think it's so well done, and I think obviously like the whole like thing about the moon is just beautiful.
And that was, at first I was like, what am I not getting? I'm like, is this supposed to be some like big grand like thematic thing that I'm not getting? I'm like, nah, I just think Italian people love the moon, like.
Yeah.
But they're just
Come
like,
on,
you know.
Did you not hear the song through the entire movie?
Oh, we're gonna get to it. I heard the song, but but just I was like, you know, is this supposed to represent something greater than just like the love people feel for each other? But then I was like, no, it's just that like people love the moon. When the moon is big, the love is big, you know? I was like, is this supposed to be some like weird ominous, like, because I felt like something bad was gonna happen. I was like, something like, because her whole thing was about luck. And, like, I was unlucky, the way I did things was unlucky, and so I was like, oh, is she gonna, like, something bad's gonna happen, and it's gonna be because she, like, made more unlucky choices or something? So I was like, oh my god, is, like, I don't know, is the moon gonna crash into the earth or something? But do you believe in, like, not curses, because that's a bit of a stretch, but, like, luck and, like, blaming things on, like, you know, oh, we didn't get married, you know, we got married at a courthouse, and that's why he got hit by a bus. Like, do you attribute things to, like, very prior incidences that maybe would not actually have any impact?
I wouldn't say luck. I think karma. I think karma is definitely something that I fuck with a little more, and that definitely feels a little more grounded, I guess. Luck, maybe not so much. But yeah, karma is definitely something that I would say I've definitely had like something happen and be like, why the fuck is my karma so bad? Or like, oh, that's like a good karma like incident, you know what I mean? So
For sure.
Yeah, every now and then.
I always say, like, oh, the universe is, like, sending me signs. And my friend Rachel's like, she's like, no, it's not. You're just thinking about it. She's like, yeah, it's like, you think the universe is sending you signs about something, but it's just because it's something that's really on your mind. So you're, like, searching for it in places. I'm like, damn, so true. Like,
but do we want to get into our regularly scheduled programming?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to. So my answer for, do we want to do food and drink first? Oh, wait, what do we usually do? Fuck, marry, kill first. So
fuck, marry, kill.
It's really hard. Do we do her, Cher, Nicolas Cage, and Danny Aiello, or do we do Cher and her parents?
I think I just put Olympia Dukakis in it because we know that that's going to be the harder question.
Yeah, because I feel like Danny Aiello is such
I don't
a
care
throwaway.
for any of the other men.
Yeah. So let's do Fuck, Marry, Kill,
throwaway.
Fight. We'll do Fuck, Marry, Kill, Fight, and we'll add Olympia Dukakis into the mix. Oh, wait, let's just take out Danny Aiello. No, none, we're both going to kill Danny
just
Aiello.
Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Okay, Fuck, Marry, Kill, Nicolas Cage, Cher, Olympia Dukakis. I'm going to marry Olympia Dukakis. She slays. I'm sorry.
Obviously.
Like, she was like, am I a good wife? And then he slams his hand on the table, and then he's like, yes. Correct. And she's like the kind of no bullshit person I need, like, even as a friend.
It's not even that. She looks at him and she says, I don't want you to see her anymore. And then he just slams his hand on the table.
It's like, fine. But just, a no bullshit kind of person is always somebody good to keep around. So I'm gonna marry Olympia Dukakis. Unfortunately, I'm gonna fuck Cher. She's hot as hell in this movie. I'm gonna kill Nicolas Cage.
Insane. She's insanely hot in this movie. I have to agree with everything you've said. Listen, she can be Cher's mom. She's gonna be my mommy. I want Olympia Dukakis all for myself in that big-ass New York Italian apartment.
$1 trillion. $1 million.
I want her to cook me egg in a hole.
Stop. I was gonna bring up...
It looks so good.
Do you call it, like, is it toad in a hole? Or am I, like, making that up?
No, that's a whole other British thing.
Toad? What is the toad?
It's like, hold on.
I knew people call it, like, bird in a nest, or, like, egg in a nest, or bird in a nest. But what is it? Toad? Why is the first...
Toad in a hole is an entirely different thing.
The first thing that came to mind when she did that is I was like, toad in a hole.
It's like sausage cooked in, like, not a pastry.
No!
Almost like a bread. I guess in America, bird in a hole is what, the egg in the bread toast is usually called.
With the little peppers. Stop, we'll get to it. But yeah, Olympia Dukakis, slay my life, be my wife.
Olympia on my Dukakis. Till I'm moonstruck.
I was gonna say, yeah. She Olympia on my Dukakis till I'm moonstruck. Oh, that's really good. Till I share.
But food and drink for this movie. Do you have anything outstanding or stellar?
No, nothing outstanding or stellar. This movie features so much, like, food references and good-looking food just because it is simply Italian. I crack up at the first scene where they're getting engaged and he orders fish and she's like, don't order fish, it's too oily. You're getting on a plane. Order the manicotti. I'm like, yeah, don't order oily fish. Eat a full cup of ricotta cheese instead. Like, what the fuck? But there's just so many great food shots and like the bread and people cooking. And her making him that steak and it's like unbuttered noodles. It's like dry spaghetti and in a rare steak. I'm like, what? Like, are you kidding me? But the one thing, toad in a hole, I guess it's not called toad in a hole, egg in a basket, egg in a hole, whatever you want to call it. I just thought that was the food scene that like itched my brain where I was like, I need that right now. And then throughout the movie, they often drink champagne and they put a sugar cube in it. And I thought they were putting Alka-Seltzer. I don't know why the fuck I thought that, but I was like, Henry said something, and I was like, oh, he's like, what is that? I was like, oh, they're putting Alka-Seltzer in their champagne for more bubbles. And he was like, there's no way that's true, Dara. And he rewinded it, and he's like, it's a sugar cube, you idiot. But to be on brand with this movie, I feel like a little toad in a hole breakfast for dinner and a champagne. Don't put a sugar cube in it, because like, that's... Maybe rim the glass with sugar if you want. You don't need to put a sugar cube in champagne. That's fucked. But I guess to be in line with that, I suppose that is my recommendation.
I don't know. Is that like an Italian thing though?
I was really trying to stretch my brain to do something that wasn't in this movie, but this movie just simply features too many good food shots that I'm like, I'll just pick something.
I guess it helps to release the carbon dioxide in the champagne, which like makes the bubbles.
But there's already so much sugar in, like, that's like if you put sugar in your white wine, like, who the fuck do you think you are?
But yeah, I think this is a very red wine movie for me. I definitely leaned into the scene where it's both of Cher's parents and her grandfather and her aunt and her uncle. I think the red wine with, like, I couldn't tell what exactly were that they were eating, but it was definitely really saucy and it gave me ragu vibes. Oh. And I think you make a hearty ragu. And you get you really like cook it up. You're gonna spend like an hour and a half on this beforehand, you know what I mean? You're gonna have like a couple glasses of red wine and then you're gonna sit down and watch the movie. It's gonna hit even harder.
Nobody is coming to this podcast for cooking tips, but I, as a non-Italian white lady, make a half-decent tomato sauce, and I use the binging with Babish recipe. If it's super easy, it's just like you sweat your aromatics and you add in San Marzano tomatoes, and it comes out great every time. So that's my suggestion if you're gonna do, like, I bake a ziti probably once a month because I'm depressed. But I always make sure that the sauce is real good.
Hell yeah,
and I don't have an Italian bone in my body, so it's not genetic.
And what are you gonna follow this movie up with? You've made your, what were you gonna eat?
I'm toad in a hole, egg in a hole.
Yeah, you're making your eggs with the peppers, and you're having a little champagne, which is a bit of a fucked combination, but I'll give you it. What are you gonna watch afterwards? Okay.
So I'm really gonna need you to like hold on to your seatbelt and come on this journey with me, because I have this movie has very solid through lines as far as like callbacks and references, themes. And here's the thing: is my
seat buckle's on.
I'm doing a hard pivot reference. This song, this movie really features the song. What is it called? That's Amore by Dean Martin. Like, when the moon hits your eye.
Hits your eye like a big pizza pie.
So, there's a line in this song that I'm gonna use. And I'm telling you to watch the movie Beetlejuice. And that is because he says, like a gay tarantula. Like a gay tarantula. And then he goes, tippy tippy tap, tippy tippy tap. Gay tarantula, tippy tippy tap. Honestly, on its own, iconic. Where else are we getting musical tarantula references? Is Deo, Deo, Deo. Watch out for the black tarantula. So I've been walking around my apartment saying, watch out for the gay tarantula. Oh my god, this whole past week. Daylight come and me one go home. So obviously you just take the tarantula reference and you watch Beetlejuice. Hard pivot.
I really like that. That's a really good one.
And what about you?
I am also, and I've started a Letterboxd list now off of this, because one of the scenes that really struck me, and I was like, I know this scene, I've seen it a handful of times before, but I really like it, is the forbidden love at the opera.
Pretty Woman.
Love that. Yes, Pretty Woman. So that's one. I have two options for you.
Okay.
Okay? Two options. One ends in a good way and is very much still your classic rom-com. One ends in a bad way and is a little more artsy-fartsy, but it has a stacked cast. Can you guess what it is? I don't know if you've ever seen this movie.
I don't know. You'll have to tell me. My mind is empty.
So it's either Pretty Woman for the fun one, for the fun, perky one, and my other option is Anna Karenina.
Oh, see, I've never seen that. I know it's a big book, though.
It is. I think you'd like the movie. But yeah, I feel like you either go, you stick on like the straight and narrow with the big fun rom-com that you've been on, or you just hard pivot to like sex and adultery and the hottest cast you've ever seen and just wacky setups. Yeah.
I would say Pretty Woman's a great follow through, though, if you want a very similar movie, because it's
absolutely
got the opera, it's got the big makeover scene. Cher's got the big makeover scene. It's big hair. It's horny.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
it's sexy. Yeah.
Very similar vibes for sure. I'll have to watch Anna Karenina, though, or at least add it to my Letterboxd. Which, speaking of Letterboxd, our ats are in the description below. If you want to follow either of us, we don't really, like, I don't know. I would just follow back everyone who follows me on Letterboxd.
That's my most accessible place.
Yeah, so if you ever want to follow
Which is
Emily
fucking
or I,
pathetic.
We just, I think you and I both try to pretty religiously log all of our new movies that we watch. So if you want to follow us on there, but
everyone
also,
go flame me for what I rated No Country for Old Men.
Oh, I agreed with you, though. What did you say, 2.5?
Yeah, I didn't
I think I said
do it
3.
for me.
I think I said 3. It's good. It's a Coen Brothers. It's for the boys. Like,
I don't like the Coen Brothers very much, I think I've decided. It's really just not, it's not for me.
Yeah, hot take.
And I've watched a handful of their movies.
They're for male manipulator movies. Go check out Forever Ago. We did Male Manipulator March, even though we didn't cover any Coen Brothers movies. But feels in the same vein to me. But also,
Fargo is on here somewhere.
Oh, I love Fargo, though, so never mind. Yeah. Disregard. But if you want to follow us, if you don't follow us, please follow us. Our stuff is in the description below, like I said. Also, if you're still listening and you have not given The Swamp a star rating on your podcast listening platform of choice, please do that. It's, I'm begging. Oh, please. I'm being pathetic. I get it. But if you could just hit the little, you don't even have to, if you write a little tidbit, that, like, makes my heart swoon, but just give us the stars. Because we need the stars for Apple and Spotify to like us more, so more people can listen, so that we can do this more for you. So please give us all the stars you think we deserve. We love you. And check out all our shit. And send us suggestions, not for this month, because it's Emily's month, but for all future month themes, chocolate or vanillas, movie suggestions, all of it. We love to hear from you. You've heard the spiel. And goodbye, good night, and make sure to look at the moon for...
Hey, reel it back in, Dara. What would you rate this movie?
Oh my god,
wow.
I'm so sorry, Emily. I'm gonna have to put this... Okay. Wow. This is not okay with me. I'm gonna give it I want to say 6.5 or a 7. I liked it. I don't know if I would, like, choose to watch it again, other than, like, that I wanted a fun little dialogue movie to watch while I, like, do the dishes. Which is its own complete category and is not to be looked down upon. It serves a purpose.
That is a list on Letterboxd to make.
But I do not, this didn't, like, knock my socks off, because I really was waiting for, like, the big tap dance number. personally. But what about you? Is it, it's the
9.5.
It's the tippy
Easily.
tip.
It's a 9.5.
It's the tippy tap, tippy tippy tap. It's the gay tarantula.
It's the gay tarantula
of movies.
Of films for me.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a hard 9.5. It's so funny because usually after I rewatch a movie, it kind of decreases in status for me. Anytime I watch this, it only ever grows.
Which I feel like I maybe some of the like thematic shit I would want to watch again. I'd be like, haha, oh, he's being a cuck. I get it. Like, oh, I know how it ends, so like I'm getting the references more. But,
yeah.
But thank you. I'm glad you made me watch it because it was one of those that was like sort of looming over my head for a while.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to have done things.
Watched it.
Sorry to have done things out of order and to really hard promote our shit before we gave our ratings. But anyways, we love you all. See you next week. Goodbye and good night.